While social media is buzzing about a comment that a starting safety for the Green Bay Packers has made about his wife, Simone Biles, and every dimwit feminist suck puppet, suck up, and simp out there was excoriating. What's his name? Jonathan Owens, that's his name? But anyway, so while most social media is buzzing about that, not nearly enough attention has gotten put on this. Now, the individual you see holding the plaque with that salmon jacket that don't hardly fit her, her name is April Sponsel. She has been suspended from practicing law for 2 years after she was fired for falsely submitting street gang charges on a group of protesters in downtown Phoenix back in 2020. So this was in the height of the George Floyd um, protests. We all know about George Floyd, who was murdered by Derek Chauvin, and the racists to this day are still trying to say that he died from a drug overdose, when the autopsy report clearly shows that that was not the case. He was murdered. And Derek Chauvin, his rotten ass, is where he is today, stuck in a 6x9 with 3 hots in a cot. Now, when we talk about the gross misconduct that happens in the United States, and particularly towards Black people, to where Black folks are doing 20, 30, 40. Hell, there was a case out in Oklahoma where a man was released from prison after 50 years. And I'm going to talk about that in another video. This man was released after 50 years in prison due to jury bias, misconduct, and racial bias. This is what we're seeing here when it comes to a person by the name of April Sponsel. After the Minneapolis killing of George Floyd and the Arizona Department of Public Safety killing of Deion Johnson, the Maricopa County office received hundreds of charge submittals from law enforcement arising out of local protests, according to the disciplinary hearing panel's written decision suspending Sponsel. Sponsel took the lead on pursuing felony prosecution against the protesters. The disciplinary hearing panel found that police reports related on an October 17th, 2020 protest that led to the arrest of 18 people had cut and paste characteristics, including carried forward misspellings, undeleted template prompts such as name and substantially identical verbiage. Of those arrested, Sponsor charged 15 people with 3 felonies: riot, hindering, prosecution, and aggravated assault. The hearing panel found that Sponsor cavalierly dismissed exculpatory evidence, did not review important video evidence, wrongfully accused a man of possessing Antifa paraphernalia, and rushed the cases to a grand jury. And what they always say when it comes to the grand jury is sworn to secrecy. That's where the prosecutor gets to go in there and do all their dirt to warrant a conviction. Or warrant a indictment, not a conviction, but an indictment, or to throw the case. This is what they do. As YouTube don't send out notifications for whenever I go live. And they shadow banning me, and that's by design, but that's okay. Because I'm going to still put this information out. But this is the kind of stuff that goes on a daily basis. This is the kind of stuff that goes on a daily basis. And this woman here is just one of many prosecutors who engage in misconduct. To me, she should not have a law license. To me, she should be disbarred and prevented from practicing law altogether ever again, if you ask me. The fact that not only she's gotten fired from her law practice, but she got suspended for 2 years. 2 years. And the thing that got me was the fact that she was out here cutting and pasting information that wasn't true and treating these individuals like they're one size fits all. How can someone do that? That they can just go ahead and cut and paste information from one piece of a document to another piece of a document and was going to run that up and think that she wasn't going to get caught, that she was going to just let this ride out. Disgusting. Amy Caper, one of the protesters who was arrested, told the hearing panel the experience had led her to believe the legal system is so much worse than they could ever imagine, according to the hearing panel's decision. She lost a job because of the arrest and suffered from PTSD because of the ordeal. So much dirtier and more insidious and backwards and evil than she could have ever imagined, according to the decision. The hearing panel also found sponsor worked with police to fabricate the ACAB gang and bring criminal street gang charges against the protesters, which the Maricopa County Attorney's Office had never done before. The three-person panel quoted County Attorney Rachel Mitchell, who testified that sponsor's grand jury presentation against the protesters was outrageous. The panel said the evidence presented to them supported Mitchell's assessment. Ms. Sponsor may not have intended to indict an innocent man, the hearing panel wrote, of one of the people charged, but the evidence establishes that she did so. What do you mean she haven't intended to charge an innocent man? When you cut and paste a document from one piece of paper to another piece of paper, that seems like willful intent to me. That seems like willful intent to me. She may not have intended. What do you mean she may not have intended? She did intend to indict innocent people. That's why she did it. So what do you mean? She didn't intend to indict an innocent man, but the evidence establishes that she did so. Yeah, the evidence might establish she did so, but when she did the cutting and pasting from one document to another and was slapping people's names, other people's names on the same damn thing, that shows intent right there. That's the intent. That's what should have gotten her disbarred. But you suspend her for 2 years? Get out of here, man. Anyway, when presented with evidence contradicting the charges against the protesters, sponsors did not take time to give it the objective examination. Viewed in totality, the record clearly and convincingly established a roster-file gang charges against the October 17th defendants that were unsupported by adequate or competent evaluation of available facts and evidence and without reason consideration of each individual's conduct, the disciplinary hearing panel found. Even after the indictments, Ms. Sponsor did not competently or diligently evaluate the evidence or competently and diligently reassess the existence of a reasonable likelihood of conviction. County Attorney's Office ended up dismissing all the charges. The hearings panel found sponsor violated multiple ethical conduct rules. Her 2-year suspension is effective 60 days from Tuesday. So let me get this straight. So Tuesday gone. So for 2 months, she gets to keep her law license. So basically in February, sometime late February is when her 2-year suspension began. So you guys acknowledge that this woman violated her duties as a prosecutor. So not only you suspend her for only 2 years, but there's a delay in the suspension. She's not suspended immediately. Her ass should be, kid man, you crazy. Her ass should be disbarred right now. She should be disbarred right now, no questions asked. Mm-mm-mm. So let's go back down memory lane. Okay, there's more details about this. So we're going to go back to June 29, 2022. Because this is when she got fired. Okay? This is when this woman got fired from her office that she was working the beat in. So we talked about what happened on October 17th, but sponsor filed the indictment on October 27th, 2020. The judge, and this judge was retired, who investigated the handling of the charges, accused her of working too closely with the police and misrepresenting evidence to the grand jury. According to the judge, the allegations of the 50 people arrested during the protest were exaggerated, misleading, and incorrect. The gang-related charges were later dropped. The judge called one of the prosecutions a miscarriage of justice, and prosecutors did not properly vet the evidence from the police. One suspect turned out to be an innocent bystander, not even involved in the march. Former Maricopa County Attorney Alistair Adele dismissed all charges against the prosecutors, not the prosecutors, the protesters on February 12, 2021, quote unquote, with prejudice. So whenever there's something with prejudice, that means they cannot refile those same charges again. That's right. That's right. All she got was a slap on the wrist with this nonsense. That's all she got. Sponsor was placed on administrative leave on March 2nd, 2021. After conducting a formal investigation into Sponsor's conduct, the Maricopa County officials said Sponsor showed incompetency, inefficiency, and neglect of duty in performing her job. Chief Deputy Paul Ayler noted a disturbing pattern of excessive charging, and a failure to review available evidence. According to court documents, Ayler wrote that sponsor's entire approach to the street gang investigation was concerning, including her charging decisions. Ayler said sponsor's decision to wrongfully indict an innocent person with inadequate evidence showed she failed to review the available evidence, which is one of the reasons for her termination. Ayler's investigation also called into question sponsor's actions before the grand jury. Court state filings state that sponsor acknowledged in her administrative review that a prosecutor should not try to influence the grand jury or give an opinion as a fact. But Ayler says after review, sponsor made several media advisements to the grand jury with argumentative statements that were more her opinion on the case and went far beyond what was needed to allow a jury to determine if they have been exposed to any media coverage of these events. Ultimately, Ayler said many of sponsor's statements were exaggerations or were unsupported by the evidence. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. But this woman here gets to continue to practice law after 2 years after all that stuff she engaged herself in. Mm-mm-mm. Then let's listen to more of this stuff because the thing about these stories is a jigsaw puzzle that you have to put together. So how does all this bullshit begin? How did we get here? How did we get to where this woman here has been suspended for 2 years, right? How did we get here? All this started, like I said, it started on October 17, 2020. It stemmed from an incident where Phoenix police officers believed that a group of protesters were trying to block a light rail train. At the time, police said some of the prosecutors in the group were carrying weapons like an AR-15, a pistol, stun gun, metal clubs, a brick knife, and smoke bombs. Now, court documents detailed when the group ignored police commands to steer clear of the street. A police lieutenant at the scene ordered the arrest of 15 protesters. After the protest arrest, sponsor and Detective Carl Martin met with several law enforcement officials to discuss the possibility of charging the protesters with assisting a criminal street gang. Sponsor, who filed the indictment a week later, was accused by a retired judge investigating the handling of the charges, working too closely with the police, and misrepresenting evidence to the grand jury, which I just talked about. On August 19th, 2021, then Phoenix City Manager Ed Zerker released a report conducting the independent investigation of the Phoenix Police Department in regards to the false charges made against the protesters. The report resulted in then Police Chief Jerry Williams demoting 3 of her executive team, John Collins, Lawrence Hine, and Gabriel Lopez, and placing Doug McBride, the officer at the center of the report, on administrative leave. So not only we got a situation here to where you have a lawyer getting disbarred, you also have police officers who are getting suspended, who are getting put on administrative leave, who probably has gotten demoted, all because of a perception that was not really there. So we have a situation now to where, like I always talk about in these videos, you got the cops who get involved in misconduct by writing false police reports, overcharging individuals, and then you have the prosecutors who work in hand with these police officers. They commit their misconduct by, one, not properly vetting the evidence, two, already have a preconceived bias by working with the police officers, and three, holding these secret grand jury things to where they can finagle things in a way to warrant the desired result, whether it be to get an indictment or to get a case thrown out. So you guys let me know what y'all think. I'm gonna talk about something later on involving a man, and I stated it kind of slightly early in the video, but I'm going to talk about a man who was finally released after 50 years in prison. So be on the lookout for that video. Now, if you're not subscribing to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share these videos on your social media platforms. And these goddamn YouTube individuals, stop shadow banning me and put out my content. Shouts out to the Lions Den basketball community. That's your man. Scream at me. Oh!